Welcome back to American Morning. The stunning resignation of Ohio State head football coach Jim Tressel raising a lot of questions about college athletics. Tressel was forced to step down after admitting he knew his players were selling memorabilia to a local tattoo parlor owner, and he didn't report it. That's a violation of NCAA rules. Some are suggesting that it might be time for an overhaul of the entire system. Let schools finally pay their student athletes. Elsie Granderson writes a weekly column for CNN.com and is also a senior writer with ESPN, the magazine, and ESPN.com. He joins us live from Grand Rapids, Michigan. Good morning, LZ. Let me ask you first about this this resignation. I mean, do you think, a respected coach basically loses his job over something that is a perennial debate? These kids want compensation. They're always looking for some kids are looking for a way to be compensated for their status on the field.
Well, absolutely. I mean, this brings us back to the conversation of should these players be paid? Jim Tressel found himself in a situation where I don't think that he is at his core as a bad person, but he definitely illustrated or demonstrated bad judgment. And I think he got caught in a cycle and he didn't know how to get out of it. And part of me believes that this resignation is a bit of a relief for him.
Now, you're talking about should these athletes be paid, these student athletes be paid. There's kind of two schools of thought here. One, that these guys get the golden ticket. They get the shot at a free education, free travel, free room and board, free tutoring. Then the other side of it is that they are exploited by colleges who just want to make money off of them. Is it as simple as that?
Well, I think first of all we have to look at the fact that they're getting scholarships, but it's not free. The travel is not free. They're working for it. The scholarships, the room and board, the travel, that's actually compensation for the effort that they're putting forward on the field. And so it's not just they're getting something without having to work for it. And if you look at it that way, and then you ask yourself, if a handful of star players are getting compensated, say, a few tens of thousands, but they're making the corporation billions because of broadcasting rights, is that equitable? I think that is the question you should be asking. And if you look at it that way, then you say, come to think of it, maybe we should be giving these students more because they make so much more for these universities.
Is the whole idea of a student athlete then essentially just a charade?
It's not entirely a charade. We have to keep in mind that there are a great deal of sports, both male and female, that the NCAA is responsible for. Division I, Division II, and Division III that the NCAA is responsible for. So, by and large, the majority of student athletes are indeed student athletes. The scandal comes when we have the two top sports that make the biggest dollars in terms of broadcasting, and that's being college basketball and college football. And a handful of those do make bad choices. But overall, I think the NCAA has a right to be a little defensive because it's not as if the entire system is in shambles. There are students who are following the rules, who are pursuing education.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, how widespread do you think it is? I mean, with the Ohio State coach, it's a pretty high-profile resignation. They've been following this sort of this memorabilia for tattoo, paying for tattoos with memorabilia. How widespread is it, do you think, in college sports?
Well, I think that is, when it comes to, again, these top two sports, I have a hard time believing that there are clean hands in the top 25. We have seen, looking back even before Tressel, Pete Carroll in the situation at USC. John Calipari's name has come up several times in terms of violations. It's widespread if you're going to compete for the championships. Coaches are either going to aggressively look for or have willing blindness and ignorance in terms of what's being done to attract the best athletes and to keep them in those schools. The NCAA has a big problem on their hands because this system isn't going away. This problem is not going away.
Okay, Elsie Granderson, thanks so much. Senior writer, columnist, ESPN, the magazine, also a columnist for CNN.com. Nice to see you this morning.
You too.